Jaylen Brown and LeBron James going back and forth over comments about Bronny has set the internet on fire. Brown has not backed down from what he said, and the tension between these two keeps building. So, let's get into how this whole thing started, what was said, and why it keeps coming back up. The game that started it all. On Sunday night, the Boston Celtics walked into Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles and did what nobody expected them to do this season. They dominated. The Jason Tatumless Boston Celtics beat the Los Angeles Lakers 111-89, largely thanks to Jaylen Brown's 32 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. This was not a game that went down to the wire. This was not a situation where the Lakers fought back and came up short. This was a demolition. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves were the only Lakers that scored double-digit points. The rest of the roster was absent. The Celtics shot 48% from the field and 39% from three-point range, while the Lakers shot just 39% from the field and 30% from three. Boston also won the rebound battle 50-39. There is no way to sugarcoat that. The Lakers got beat in every single facet of the game. Now, what makes this game matter for this conversation is what happened after the final buzzer. After the game, LeBron James was asked about Brown's season and what his personal relationship with the Celtics star has been like over the years. And that is when things got interesting, because LeBron, while sitting in the Lakers locker room after absorbing a 22-point loss, decided to bring up something from almost 2 years ago, something that had been simmering underneath the surface. LeBron said, "Our relationship has been pretty respectful. Besides," he said about Bronny at Summer League. He said it with a smile, and the media in the room laughed. But the message was clear. LeBron remembers. As James and the media laughed, he was asked if they had gotten past that incident. "I think he went on social media and said something about it, so it's all good," LeBron continued. Bronny got a long way to go, but that's another story. Now the question is, what did Jaylen Brown say? And why does LeBron still care about it almost 2 years later? To understand that, we have to go back to July 2024. That is where this entire story begins. In July 2024, during one of Bronny James's Summer League games in Las Vegas, Brown, who was sitting courtside with Angel Reese and Kaiser Gondrezick, was caught on camera giving his thoughts on LeBron's son's game. The cameras were rolling, the lip readers were watching, and what came out of Jaylen Brown's mouth set the basketball world on fire. "I don't think Bronny is a pro," Brown appeared to say to the women. Gondrezick seemingly replied, "I think he'll be on the G League team for sure." Brown apparently then said, "I don't think so. I think because of his name, he'll be on the Lakers." Now let's break that down. Brown didn't just say Bronny was not ready, he said Bronny was not a pro, period. And when Gondrezick gave Bronny a little bit of credit by suggesting he could at least play on a G League team, Brown shut that down too. He said Bronny would only be on the Lakers because of his last name, not because of his talent, not because of his potential, because of who his father is. That is a serious statement from an NBA champion. Jaylen Brown is not some random person on social media giving opinions. He has an NBA Finals MVP award under his belt for his performance in the championship round against Dallas 2 years ago. When Jaylen Brown says he doesn't think you're a pro, that carries weight. That means something. And it went everywhere. The clip blew up online, sparked debate everywhere, and clearly stuck with LeBron. After the clip went viral in 2024, Jaylen Brown did respond. Shortly after the clip went viral, Brown reposted it on X and wrote a caption where he saluted LeBron for having his son join him in the NBA and said that Bronny has the resources to become a successful player. His exact words were, "It's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth." Now on the surface, that looks like a walkback. It looks like Brown realized that the clip was going to cause problems, so he hopped on social media and tried to smooth things over. But here's the thing. He never said the clip was wrong. He never said he was misquoted. He never said the lip readers got it wrong. Even though it was just lip reading, Brown owned the comment. He posted that message as a follow-up, not as a correction. There is a difference. And that is what makes this whole thing different from your standard NBA controversy, where somebody says something, it blows up, and then they come back and say they were taken out of context. Brown never claimed he was taken out of context. He acknowledged the conversation happened, and then added a positive spin on top of it. That is not an apology. That is not a retraction. That is managing the narrative. Following the viral clip in 2024, Brown addressed the situation online, writing that Bronny James has all the tools around him to be successful. It wasn't a direct apology, but it signaled no ill intent. And that is exactly how LeBron read it. LeBron knows the difference between somebody who says sorry and somebody who puts out a statement. LeBron James indicated the statement helped to repair the damage the video caused, but still, it wasn't hard to tell mixed feelings still linger. So here we are almost 2 years later, and the topic comes back up in that post-game press conference at Crypto.com Arena. LeBron was asked about his relationship with Jaylen Brown, he could have said it's fine. He could have said they're cool. He could have said they respect each other's game and left it at that. But he didn't. He went straight to the Bronny comment. And that tells you everything you need to know about how much that moment stuck with him. Though James admitted that Bronny has a ways to go in his development in the league, and he wasn't that serious about it Sunday night, he's clearly not going to forget those who have criticized his son in the past, even if it was years ago. Now, the other piece of this is what it looked like for Jaylen Brown to be saying these things while sitting courtside with Angel Reese and Kizri. These are not just random spectators. Angel Reese is one of the biggest names in the WNBA. Gondrezick is a former WNBA player. The three of them sitting together, watching Bronny play, and having that conversation in public, with cameras rolling, speaks to how casual and confident Brown was in his opinion. He didn't whisper it in a back room. He didn't text it to a group chat. He said it in an arena courtside while the game was happening. And the cameras caught it. The boldness of that moment is what made it cut deeper. LeBron has dealt with criticism of Bronny from media members, from fans on social media, from analysts on television. That comes with the territory. But when a fellow NBA star, a champion, says your son is not a pro while watching him play in person, that is different. That hits different. And LeBron has made it clear years later that it still hits. If you ever talk negatively about any of LeBron James's kids, just know that he doesn't forget. He indirectly made that point very clear during a post-game interview. Here's where things get complicated. Because in the same post-game press conference where LeBron called out Jaylen Brown for what he said about Bronny, LeBron also went out of his way to praise Brown's season. He didn't just acknowledge Brown's play, he actively campaigned for him. James was complimentary of both Brown and the Celtics for having the year they have had after losing Jason Tatum to injury, as well as a number of key players from their championship team 2 seasons ago. LeBron said, "I don't know, this whole MVP thing. I don't understand why his name is not getting talked about some as well. Nobody gave them a shot to start the season, and he's averaging just under 30. Think about that." LeBron, who just got blown out by 22 points, who just brought up the Bronny comment, is now sitting there telling the media that Jaylen Brown should be in the MVP conversation. That is not something you see every day in professional sports. He was advocating for Jaylen Brown's candidacy for the end-of-season race that his own teammate is in. Luka Doncic, LeBron's own teammate on the Lakers, is one of the players in the MVP race. And yet LeBron is sitting there hyping up Jaylen Brown. That shows you the level of respect LeBron has for Brown's game, even if the Bronny situation left a mark. The Celtics were expected to undergo some sort of a rebuilding year, with Jason Tatum missing the bulk of the regular season following an Achilles injury. But with more than half of the season in the books, the Celtics find themselves in the mix as playoff contenders. And a lot of that is because of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is arguably having the best season of his career, averaging 29.2 points, 7.0 rebounds, and 4.8 assists per game. As the leader of one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, LeBron noted that the Celtics lost a lot of pieces from their championship roster. You just use the motivation of a lot of people just saying that they're going to have a down year because of, obviously JT being out. Al Horford leaves, Kristaps Porzingis leaves. The whole championship team pretty much is kind of revamped, and he uses that motivation to keep them afloat. So you have this situation where LeBron is holding two things in his mind at the same time. On one hand, Jaylen Brown disrespected his son. On the other hand, Jaylen Brown is having a season that demands respect. And LeBron is not the type to deny reality just because he has personal feelings about somebody. He acknowledged both things in the same conversation within minutes of each other. Hearing MVP chants for a Celtics player inside the Lakers arena is not normal, especially when it happens during a blowout. That is how good Brown has been this season. Even the fans in Los Angeles sitting there watching their team get dismantled were chanting MVP for the guy on the other team. And LeBron recognized it. Now, Jaylen Brown was asked about receiving MVP praise from LeBron after the game. It's an honor for LeBron, who's arguably the best player to ever play the game, giving me some high praise. He kept it simple. He kept it respectful. He acknowledged LeBron's place in the history of the game and accepted the compliment. But notice what Brown didn't do. He didn't address the Bronny comments. He didn't bring up the Summer League situation. He didn't say he was sorry or that he wished he hadn't said it. He talked about the MVP praise and moved on. And that is Jaylen Brown in a nutshell. He says what he says and he stands on it. He is not going to go back and unpack something from 2 years ago just because LeBron brought it up in a press conference. Brown's posture has been the same since 2024. He said what he said about Bronny. He posted a follow-up that was complimentary, and as far as he is concerned, the conversation is over. Now, here's the part that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody is thinking about. Was Jaylen Brown right? Let's look at the numbers. The Lakers selected Bronny with the number 55 overall pick in the draft that summer, and he ended up playing in 27 games last season, while spending time with the Lakers' G League affiliate. He's been doing the same thing this season. Bronny has averaged 2.2 points and 1.2 assists in 29 appearances with the Lakers this season, while playing 7.3 minutes per game. In the G League, the numbers tell a different story. In 6 games with the South Bay Lakers, he's averaged 15.5 points and 5.2 assists. And last season, Bronny averaged 18.4 points at the G League level. So what does this tell us? Brown is half right. Bronny has shown that he can at least succeed in the G League. That's still professional, but he hasn't proven that he can stick in the NBA. When Jaylen Brown said Bronny is not a pro, the context was whether he belongs on an NBA roster. And the numbers this season suggest that Bronny is still very much a developmental player. He's getting 7.3 minutes per game on the main roster. He's averaging 2.2 points. Those are not the numbers of a player who has established himself in the league. Those are the numbers of a player who is still trying to figure it out. Now, LeBron himself acknowledged this. He said, "Bronny got a long way to go, but that's another story." So even LeBron, Bronny's own father, is not sitting there pretending that Bronny has arrived. He knows his son is still in the early stages of his development. The issue was never about whether Bronny is a finished product. The issue was about Jaylen Brown being the one to say it, and the way he said it, and who he said it to, and where he said it. Brown added more insult to injury, saying that Bronny would make the Lakers roster, but only because of his last name. I don't think so. I think because of his name, he'll be on the Lakers. That is the part that stings the most, because it implies that Bronny's place in the NBA is not earned. It implies that the only reason the Lakers drafted him, and the only reason he's on the roster, is because his father is LeBron James. And while a lot of people have said the same thing on podcasts and in comment sections, hearing it from a player of Jaylen Brown's caliber, an NBA Finals MVP, hits differently. The Los Angeles Lakers announced on February 9th that Bronny has been assigned to their G League affiliate, the South Bay Lakers. So the reality is that Bronny is still bouncing between the NBA roster and the G League. He has not been able to carve out a consistent role with the Lakers. And while LeBron may not like what Brown said, the numbers don't exactly prove Brown wrong. During his rookie season, Bronny appeared in 27 games, averaging 2.3 points. In year 2, Bronny has split time between the Los Angeles Lakers and their G League affiliate in South Bay. As LeBron suggested, he's got a long way to go. Bronny did not play in the Lakers' loss Sunday night. He wasn't even on the floor when his father was talking about him in the post-game press conference. He wasn't available to respond or to show what he can do on the court. He was simply a topic of conversation that came up because of something Jaylen Brown said courtside at a Summer League game in 2024. And that is the uncomfortable reality of this situation. The spotlight on Bronny often has less to do with what he does on the court and more to do with who his father is and what other people say about him. Now here is where it all comes together. Jaylen Brown's position throughout this entire situation has been consistent. He made the comment in 2024. He did not deny it. He posted a follow-up that was complimentary toward LeBron and Bronny. And when LeBron brought it up again in February 2026, Brown's response was to acknowledge LeBron's praise and keep it moving. Brown addressed the comments directly. "It's an honor for LeBron, who's arguably the best player to ever play the game, giving me some high praise. So I'm just grateful. I wake up every morning grateful." He didn't apologize. He didn't walk it back further. He didn't say he was wrong about Bronny. He accepted the MVP praise, showed respect to LeBron, and that was it. That is Brown doubling down in the most Jaylen Brown way possible, by not giving the topic any more energy than he thinks it deserves. And the reality is, Brown's performance on the court has put him in a position where he doesn't need to engage in any back and forth. Brown has led Boston to second in the East at 37-19, despite missing the injured Tatum for the entire campaign. The 29-year-old is fourth in the NBA with 29.2 points per game, on 48.4% shooting with 7 rebounds and 4.8 assists. The team also owns the 4th best record in the league, yet Brown's MVP odds sit near 2%. Despite what he's doing on the court, despite carrying a team that lost its best player and several key pieces from a championship roster, Brown is still not getting the recognition that LeBron himself says he deserves. And yet Brown isn't complaining about it. He's not campaigning for himself. He's just going out there and doing it every night. Meanwhile, the Lakers are trying to figure out their own situation. LeBron is still shining despite being 41 years old, averaging 21.7 points on 49.9% shooting, with 5.7 rebounds and 7.2 assists. He's once again a key piece on a playoff contender, as Los Angeles is 5th in the Western Conference at 34-22. But the Bronny situation continues to be a subplot that follows the Lakers everywhere. Every time somebody brings up Bronny's development, every time somebody questions whether he belongs, it circles back to what Jaylen Brown said courtside in Las Vegas. because Brown was the most high-profile person to say it out loud to a camera at a game. He put his name on it, and he's never taken it back. While Jaylen Brown clearly struck a nerve with LeBron over the comments, there are no hard feelings. That is what the reporting suggests. LeBron is not holding a vendetta. He's not refusing to acknowledge Brown's talent. In fact, he's doing the opposite. He's praising Brown while simultaneously letting it be known that he hasn't forgotten. That is how LeBron operates. He files things away, he keeps receipts, and every once in a while, he pulls one out and puts it on the table. James took a surprisingly level-headed and somewhat humorous stance on the matter, while simultaneously advocating for Brown's inclusion in the MVP race. So where does this go from here? Jaylen Brown is going to keep playing at an elite level. LeBron is going to keep being LeBron. Bronny is going to keep developing between the NBA roster and the G League. And every time these teams face each other, every time Brown and LeBron are in the same building, that 2024 Summer League clip is going to come up again. Because LeBron remembers. And Brown said what he said. The interesting thing about this whole situation is what it tells you about both men. LeBron is a father first, always has been. His reaction to Brown's comment was not about basketball. It was about somebody questioning his son. And Brown is somebody who speaks his mind and stands on his words. He didn't crumble under the backlash in 2024. He didn't crumble when LeBron brought it up in 2026. He just kept playing basketball and let his game do the talking. And maybe that is the real story here. Not the comments, not the press conferences, not the social media posts, but the fact that two of the best basketball players on the planet can have a real disagreement about something personal, handle it with a mix of humor and honesty, and still respect each other enough to give flowers where flowers are due. LeBron endorsed Brown for MVP. Brown called LeBron the best player to ever play the game. And somewhere in between those two statements sits the Bronny comment, unresolved, unretracted, and unforgotten. That is where we stand right now. The next time these two face each other, the cameras will be watching, the reporters will be asking, and both men will handle it exactly the way they've been handling it. LeBron will bring it up with a smile, and Brown will keep it moving, because that is who they are. And this story is not going away anytime soon.